was just sitting outside for a while and I wanted to record a video with you outside, and then I remembered that I cannot go to the garden where I wanted to go because our roof tent will be delivered today and I have to be here in order to receive it. So, and I was just sitting there with my cup of cacao that got delivered today as well from Austria, and just enjoying the sun on my skin, the wind in my hair, and just the way how my hair moves with the wind and the subtle sounds of the birds that I can see on the roof across from me. And so I was just diving a bit deeper into myself and felt like I want to share a bit with you today about a few thoughts that come across my mind with this journey of building our van, and really what is this all about, because it's way deeper than it sounds. So I was sitting and looking at our van and I thought, damn, I have so much respect and I'm so impressed by all these people that building their vans and that making them so pretty that they look so perfect, as if they're coming from a catalog, like so shiny and everything looks perfect and classic and chic, and having all of these nice cool tools and like gadgets. And I'm just like, damn, how much patience do you got and how creative they are. And yeah, maybe they also have more time for building that. I guess most people start building their vans in winter for at least 6 months to a year, and we decided to have a shorter period of time. Like for us can really already be in 2 weeks that we're out and living full time in our car. And of course also the pregnancy is developing, and so there's a bit of a time pressure that I feel for myself sometimes. And so I just want to include a bit of all in here today, like the van build, the deeper layer behind it, and also the pregnancy part and my side in all of that. And I love this light a lot in my face right now, and it's, even though it's hard to keep my eyes open, it feels very nice to receive the sun right now. So the deeper layer of this home, we have talked about that in our first video, Edward and me, that we officially, or previously actually, wanted to have a big brand new van, basically more like a Reisemobil in German, you would say. So like really like a camper more, where 5 people can drive with you, where you have a sitting area with table, you have a huge bed in the back, you have another bed above the driver's seats, and you can just clap it easily down. You have a bigger kitchen than in the usual built out vans. You have a toilet and shower separately, and a garage, and so many like cool functional things, and all for 66k. And for us, this price was not like scary or anything, because we knew that we can ask a bank for their support and take a credit for that, and then just pay the van monthly like you would live in an apartment. I remember how we said, like, yeah, it's not different than living in an apartment and paying a monthly rent. And so we kind of like made that decision, or that option, we spoke it beautifully for ourselves and also to others. And so it was already this decision also within us, like, yeah, we are buying a new van, we are buying a van soon. And so it was also in our language, it was in our field, and you can imagine then how big of a crash it was inside when the bank said, we're not gonna do it. They asked for a second person as like someone who is there in emergency, who can then pay it, who's basically taking the responsibility. And we knew, and I knew, that there is no one in my life that I want to ask to do that for us. That this is not an option. I don't want someone else to have the responsibility on that. It just didn't feel adult like, it didn't feel right, it didn't sit right with me, and also not with Edward. And so the dream crashed. I fell into a bit of a depressive mood. I cried a lot. I was really going through a lot in that time because I thought the dream died. And then I received a wake-up call from my sister and her husband. They were visiting here, and so they got to know my soon-to-be husband for the very, very first time in real life. And I also haven't seen them for a very long time, and I have seen my niece, one of the new nieces, because I already have one and one nephew. And they basically really, how to say, I don't want to go too much into like some spiritual bullshit or spiritual philosophies, but what I truly believe in is sometimes we don't have to do much. We just have to be ourselves. And that consciousness in energy is being transmitted into the field. Meaning, their consciousness, their energy has been transmitted into this field here. And I had many, many times in my life already that I received thoughts from my family members, where if I would be on travel, so somewhere, I could hear my mom and I could feel how she's thinking about me, and then she would also approve me that. And the same with my sister, like we share a very similar path in many ways, like that we're both interested in spirituality and traveling and living in freedom and giving freedom to the children and financial freedom and astrology and feminine work and all of that. But we are also, of course, very different. But so I received many callings or paths already, transmissions, just by being energetically generational connected to her. And this time the wake-up call was quite a slap in the face a bit. So they invited us then for another evening together to come to their van. So Edward and me went there, we met them with the children, and then we had our time together. And the mirrors that I received were very clear. And again, to someone who has never experienced something like that, it's hard to explain. But basically, the husband of my sister, he is a person who can see you in a way that he can see, if you continue like that, how you're doing now, this is where you're gonna be, and this is how your life is gonna look like. And so basically they showed us, hey, if you're staying longer there in the house of the parents, no matter which parents, then you will like have such fights and grow so much apart, and it will get worse, and everyone is just gonna be in a lack of energy. And also another mirror that kind of slapped me really much was that the question was, what is Michelle's life? Okay, what maybe my sister chose to live, is that then also my life? And so this whole identities that I've created of myself, of also being like an online coach and following that path and believing this dream in like, yeah, I will make online money and will live freely wherever I want to, and that astrology is the path, and all of what I'm doing, it just cracked in that moment. It cracked open and it released tears, it released a little bit of grief, maybe. And basically, their message was to understand that we have to leave this nest immediately, or as soon as possible, to actually then get to know ourselves and our own energy, to get to know who we are and what kind of parents we are. Because really, becoming parents happens now, and not only when the child is being born. Becoming parents actually means taking full ownership of your own life, meaning also that you're financially not attached anymore to any family members. And so, to share a little bit of story and past experience of ours, is that we traveled together, Edward and me, and then like that's how we met. And then money got less, and Edward said, yeah, we can live at my mom's place, no problem. So we got there, and she was not so happy about it, but she still welcomed us and said, okay, I will support you in the way that I offer the space, but this is the monthly rent that you pay. And yeah, there are gonna be some rules, and I want you to work, Edward. You have to make money, and so on, so on. And it was a very, very difficult time for me because we were very different, his mom and I. And there was a lot of not understanding each other and trying to put expectations and pictures onto each other. And then I needed to make that cut and say, I'm breaking apart here. I'm dying here. I have to leave. And so I left. Came back to Germany to my parents, even though I said the last time I went to Portugal before I met Edward, I said, I'm never gonna live here again. And so I broke my own promise because I felt helpless. I felt empty. I felt like I don't know where I belong, and I need to be somewhere where it feels a bit more known and comfortable and safe. And talking about comfort, how fast are we going to comfort as soon as we're settling down in one place, in a house, in a home, in the same environment as before? So I went into the same environment of my family's dynamics with a new consciousness, because of course I have grown through the last months and years, seeing all these patterns, wanting to live my own life, being an adult, and then having these friends, going back to these old friends and realizing, hey, kinda actually I don't fit here anymore, and constantly having this feeling like something is not right. But I stayed in comfort in that discomfort. Like I chose the known over alignment in that time. Edward followed me. He got a job here. He learns the language, the German language. He was coming into a whole new family, and my body all of a sudden was ready to receive our child. My body basically said, okay, I can trust this man. He is following me anywhere. Not anymore the other way around, where normally I was the one who was always following and saying, I can live wherever you want me to live, or where we want to live. And so it was a big decision, and it's not that we never looked for apartments. Of course, we looked in Belgium in apartments, we looked in Germany for apartments, we searched for it, and whatever we did, nothing really felt like it's working out. And for some reason, always looking for an apartment to rent, I always felt such a huge process with it, I must say, to really make this commitment and to take this responsibility of a space and the furniture and whatever all you buy and get, and it felt so freaking huge that I think it just felt also like this is not my path, maybe. And so the wake up call was then, hey, you have your van now. What is with that car? We would be so happy in that time when we started our journey together. We would have been feeling like kings and queens if we would have a car like you guys have. Because back in the times, my sister and her husband, they only had like an Opel Corsa, so a very small car, and they managed somehow with a baby already. And so they said, you guys are so lucky. You have this money by your side that you wanted to invest into the new van, but you have a car. Start with something here. Money wants to flow. And so we also released that fear of holding that bag, of saving money, and we just started to invest. And that's how we started building this van. So you see, it's not just like, hey, we're building a van and we're starting to live in there and let's see what's gonna happen. This is such a huge step of finally leaving the nest for both of us. And I must say, I feel sometimes I felt a bit of shame around that. If I compare my age to society, to other people in my same age, to also my life situation of the pregnancy, to all my life choices, there was a lot of shame of why did I not make it yet? And I also got it often mirrored by other people, judging me for it and asking why I'm so weird. Why do I have to be so weird and not like everyone else? But I know that it is my biggest gift and my greatest uniqueness and talent to not be like everyone else. And even maybe the van life is booming right now and everyone is choosing and doing that. Each person has another reason for it. And yeah, we will see where this path leads us, but it is really a step out of the nest of a never returning point to say, even if we reach another 0 point, also 0 on the bank account, how rich can we feel in that moment? We already experienced that one time together, and then we received 1,000 euros gifted. And so we know about the magic, we know about how life works, we know how life is there for us. But we went into this whole comfort right now that Edward right now is the one who's like more afraid of this new experience than before I was the one that needed that comfort. And so it's shifting completely right now, and we will have to really let go of all of these like mental constructions and systems and conditions we've been building up in these last months. Because truly a system can only exist within us, within you, and not actually only in externally in society. So when I mean like out of the system, I never talk about leaving the money system, because people always then come up and say, yeah, but you are still using money and we need money and we live in a world where we need money and we cannot live without a water supply and the people that are working for the government and whatever, like we have to have that. That's not what I mean. That's absolutely not what I'm talking about. I mean the system in you that is believing more in this illusion of safety, that is leaning into that comfort, that is believing this is the only path to live, that is like selling your soul to just live like 65 years, yeah, for hustling in a house that you're almost never in, to give your children away that you gave birth to, just that someone else takes care of them and go to work in order to make that happen. Like, what the fuck? Like, these are systems within. That's not really something on the outside. It's just a reflection that enough people believing in those illusions, that's why it works out. And so building this van, deciding this path is a lot. And I had to go a lot through that topic, poverty and shame, because I felt ashamed for this car and to live in this car, especially with like my outer appearance. I felt shame that when people gonna see that I'm getting out of the van being pregnant, that someone will come and say, you're so irresponsible. Why do you live like that when you're becoming a mom? How can you do that to your children, to your body, and so on? By the way, I never went to a doctor and I'm not planning to, just like another side fact. But maybe pregnancy is a whole nother video, which is also again an inner system, an illusion of safety. And so I needed to go really a lot for this poverty topic in these last weeks of what is actually poverty? Like, I remember seeing those people in the community where I met Edward that were volunteering there, like walking around in like half pants, like pants that were like the half already broken, just hanging on one string. You see like almost the whole ass, and they're like working every day for this land, for that food that they're getting, for the tent that they're sleeping in. I was like, hey, this is not me. Oh, I'm the goddess. Like, I allow myself more. But why could I not find the abundance in that simplicity? Why did I reject my own current reality? Why did I need to idealize my own self where I'm standing and not seeing reality for what it really was? And in that time I was exactly as broke as those people, if it comes to money. Because actually they were not broke, they were super happy, they were aligned with what they were doing, and I judged them because I didn't want to see myself where I'm truly standing in my life. And so I think money is a big thing that always comes to people as soon as we start discovering ourselves, as soon as we start walking our path and getting out of these inner conditions, those systems I'm talking about. Money will come and will show us the biggest mirror of how deeply we trust ourselves, of how deeply we can surrender, of how deeply we can be true to ourselves. And so I'm not afraid to come back to that 0 point if it has to happen. I'm not afraid to see how we can come up with creative ways of receiving money, and also about sharing our true gifts. And with true gifts, I mean not what our profession is. I mean what comes when we are truly in our own pure energy. And that can only happen if we live in our own space. And I always knew that, but it always felt so blocked to get there. And so I love remembering that time when Edward and I were in an Airbnb in Spain when we traveled. We have been booking it for a whole month, and I love remembering that time because it really showed me our connection. It showed me so much of us, and this is actually where most of our dreams also started to appear, that we only knew each other for a few months, and Edward started talking about a house together and family. And so just only a year later, we really got pregnant. And also to really like release all of these illusions of what is responsibility, what is success, because success for my family means only materialism. Abundance only means that you have a specific amount of money, that you have your own house that you can buy. And I know they're representing their society a lot and their own conditions and their own illusions of safety, such as for people, health insurance, like how important it is for them to have a health insurance, that this is their kind of comfort and illusions. Like, so we have to go into our own field of energy to actually decondition, reprogram ourselves with all of that bullshit, all of these masks, all of these layers that we put on from other people. And it is very easy to get affected by your environment, and you don't even have to be spiritual for that or sensitive or whatever. It is just science and law that everything is energy. And then each material thing, like this seed here, has some sort of energy and frequency. And so each person, each word, each thing has a vibration and is influencing you, because you're also vibrating, you're also having a vibration. And so you're in constant interconnection with what is around you. And it is just time to go. And it has been really hard to be with my family this time, and I was feeling very sad about it, because I had such a different picture in my head how it was here when I lived here the last time. But because there I was having also my focus on building a good relationship with them. And now my whole focus is on having a good relationship with Edward and living our own life, and it's being judged. Like, there are things where they say, that's so weird how you live, Michelle, where do you even learn that? Where they're openly saying, yes, we judge you. And so it has been hard to stay true to myself and to follow what my soul fulfills each day, and to not get caught up in those dramas around that are so unnecessary, those expectations and limitations and pressure points of other people that are constantly coming in, that think they know better what life is about and what is the best for me and us. And so I'm happy that they are already very open when it comes to the pregnancy part, where we choose to have a different kind of birth and a different kind of pregnancy. They also understand a different way of living, but still they resist it. And that's okay. They don't have to understand it all, and I don't ask it from them. All I want right now is to focus on really building this life together, so that I can really also offer that to my baby, which it deserves and which I want to give. And by the way, he's really kicking a lot tonight. I was not sleeping so much because of that, and kicking in the morning, being really active and awake, and I can really feel where his feet are and his head and how he's laying, and it's wow, it's so magical to feel such a deep physical connection and beyond that to this baby. And the reason why I'm also sharing a lot of videos and content at the moment alone is because Edward is still working in his job that he really likes, and that is also bringing money in, of course. And I just wish for him to be happy, whatever that means. So I'm really excited just to see how our life is gonna transform as soon as we live in our own place. And yeah, soon we will be married in a few days as well. And so that's definitely a change of energy, and like this decision. There is now only us, and that's the most important thing. There's nothing more important than, first of all, yourself, and then your partner, and then your children, and then the rest of the family, and then the friends, and so on. Like a whole different connection to the relationship with yourself is what is starting more and more to be lived through me. And yeah, I definitely underestimated a bit the building of the van, especially if Edward is working the whole day and then the evening there's not much time to really do a lot of working. But we will also figure that out. And yes, this really came straight from my heart, this sharing here with you and my progress, my process, my inner world, my letting go of these illusions, and also, letting go of a lot of things in my life right now. I cleaned out my wardrobe like 3-4 times already. I have so little things left that I keep. I'm decluttering our stuff in general, because if you move into such a small space, you think about the things 3 times, what you keep and what you really need. And everything needs to be stored somewhere, and so that's a really big thing. And yeah, I'm also letting go of this identity of being an online coach and offering myself again more to creative things that I do with my hands, like making candles and figuring some things out. But I'm not stressing myself. I'm also allowing myself to be in that process of the van and what comes with it. I was sewing a lot of things again, sewing my own shirt, which I haven't done for so many years, and it was really a huge passion of mine. And so many things are coming back, and it really brought me also to tears, that I felt somewhat sorry for myself, that I stayed for so long, that I said, I will stay here, that I, suffered from it, kinda, that I really also had times where I said to Edward, I feel so shitty because I really wanted to enjoy this pregnancy, my first pregnancy. And then I'm coming across all of these expectations onto me, and that projections. It's not against me, and I know that. And still, it just brought up like this deep humbleness towards life and humbleness towards myself, and that it's really time to put myself first in this. And that means also to, follow your path unapologetically, and that's really a big step sometimes, like when you then choose to say, no, I'm not gonna be part of this family gathering because I am prioritizing building the van. Having a huge fight with your parents about it, and then choosing to just leave, borrow tools from someone else, and be somewhere where no one is fucking us up to build on the van. That means saying no one day, just helping without asking. That means saying no to so many things. And it's radical. And that also means saying no to people that are expecting us to come and visit them constantly just because we're pregnant, just because we're marrying. Like, it just really means, hey, we need to retreat a bit together to understand what we want. From that place we can meet other people, but try to explain it to someone who is so caught in their tunnel of this is my normal and everything that you live is abnormal. Try to explain that to people that are never questioning their own thoughts and beliefs and paths and jobs and systems on the outside and inside. So it is really just this like huge like release and relief, but also allowance to say, I'm prioritizing myself. And that also brought me to a point where I needed to leave the women's circle group where I was really long time part of, and that I actually started building with the women. And I needed to leave it because I understood none of these people are going out of these internal systems or have been going through it already. Maybe they will, maybe they do, but they haven't done it yet. None of them are choosing to go so much out of these illusions of discomfort into this unknown places, into this fuck, I'm leaving everything behind and I will start now new. And so I realized, shit, I kind of felt already so far away from them that it just felt the right thing to do. And so also what really supported me a lot in these last weeks were of course my sister and her husband. And I feel very entirely grateful for their presence in my field, like that I have these amazing people in my life that are really living in truth with themselves and with life, and that are helping others with it, and that are like walking this path and embodying it, not just talking about it, not just envisioning it, not just pretending, not just living these illusions, but really living it. That gave me a lot of support, and also to have some sort of confirmation a bit, because my sister is doing a Vedic astrology while I learned the Western astrology, and this is what I mostly work with. And she explained me a bit about my Vedic astrology, which is, by the way, super similar to my Western astrology. But still to hear it again from another person was just so woof. Yes, I always knew since I'm a child. I said, I will live at the ocean. I will not live in Germany. I knew it already so long, and I always had this desire to explore other cultures and languages and people and places, and I didn't do it enough because, again, inner systems, outer systems, not being even able to see it. And then having that confirmation from both astrology worlds and being really like hearing it. Yes, my path is to discover what really home is. Knowing that there where I was born will not be the place I will probably live. Knowing that that feeling of home is the biggest like soul purpose path, where it is really about discovering what home means to me, finding my own inner roots, grounding into myself, and creating also my own family, my own tribe, where I live up to my values, where we're creating something entirely new, with our own beliefs, with our own values, with our own rhythms and rituals, and like just a whole new world, yeah. And this is really how I want to live, like so much more aligned with our natural cycles. Like just today I thought about it again, like how many women don't even know where they're at in their cycle. How many women are actually so disconnected from their womb and their bleed, and that they're just running into the whole society, and how they forgot to honor their bleed, to retreat, to really put themselves first. Like, of course, I'm not bleeding anymore right now, but when I used to bleed, I would not meet anyone. I would just go fully inward and be with myself and honor that time so deeply. And I would be very clear with people. And just like to have this kind of, yeah, let's say consciousness or energy or inner Ausrichtung, inner alignment, and to live from that with my own family, with my own children, and give them the space to just be free for themselves with their own natural rhythm, with nature connected, with what they truly believe, with what they truly want in their life, that they have the space and the capacity to explore it, to understand it, to experience themselves, to feel really also that they choose their own path, and that money is always there for them. And so that is my huge vision. But in order to live that, I have to also live it for myself. And so it is really a brave decision to make. And it comes with so many growth challenges. And so also then being in a field where constantly other people are having unnatural rhythms and living up to their conditions and to the systems and like following what they believe, it's okay. I don't mind, as long as it's not being put on me, as long as it's not expected also from me. And so I recall this inner sovereignty and freedom within myself, and really saying yes to myself in that life, saying yes to this is what I came here for, my true inner freedom. And that means I take full ownership of all areas of my life. And so if you've been following me on other platforms like Instagram, you know that I've been going through so many death portals in these last months of letting that inner immature girl die. And this is another layer of it. It first showed itself so much in my relationship with Edward, then with my parents, of course. And then I could see so clearly how they put me also constantly in that box that I'm still a little girl, I'm not a woman. And it creates a pain inside of me, and disappointment of that someone else shows me who I really am, of expecting others to see me for who I really am. If I don't take full ownership of my life, how can they? And so that is the path now, letting that part again die, to not only become a parent and a mother, but actually really to become a wife and a human. And there are many things that I wished to be different, but I don't want to have sorrow for my past anymore. I don't want to stay fucking stuck in those cycles of repeating the same shit and eating the same shit over and over again. I don't want to, yeah, work with my past anymore. I just want to be here now and really do what is right now. Together with the person next to me, it is so much more fun and so much more intense, of course. But I feel ready. I just feel ready for life and for all that it brings and all the feelings that will come up and all the people we will meet and all the support we will receive and all the blessings and the gifts and the raw, messy, chaotic challenges that will come along. I'm all in for it already, because I don't want to be broken anymore by other people's shit and by the past and by life itself. I finally want to feel it deeply in the way how I want to feel myself, if that makes sense. Like, I guess all of that is just about feeling life inside of yourself more intense and more intense and more deeply and more truthfully and more alive inside. And so I'm happy you're here, and I'm so grateful if you came all that way until here now to listen, to receive me. I'm so grateful, and I wish you an amazing day, amazing week, wherever you are in your time to watch this. I hope that my words inspire you, maybe also awaken you in some ways, like I had this wake-up call. May it grab you there where you need to be grabbed, and maybe nothing happens, and that's also okay. But thank you so much for your time, and I'm sending love to you. And if you share some similar motives, motivations, inspirations, ideas, paths, or longings, whatever you like, however you feel connected to me, to us, then please follow along for this true, raw, authentic journey of ours. Bye.